NFL fans, welcome back to a brand new episode of the J All Day NFL Show. In today's episode, I'm going to give you all of my Week 2 picks with scores. The NFL is back, guys, and what a Week 1 it was. Incredible performances all across this slate, and the best performance, the J All Day Show. We went 13-3 with our picks. The only games we lost were by huge fourth quarter comebacks by the Vikings, the Bills, and the 49ers, man. The Seahawks and the Bills fumbled away victories late in the fourth quarter, and then J.J. McCarthy flipped the switch and came back against the Bears, right? So I'm really excited about my analysis for Week 1. I think we did a really good job. And guys, we just crossed 20,000 subscribers. We added over 2,000 new subscribers over the last couple of days. And I just want to say thank you so much for all the support you guys have given me over the last couple of seasons. It truly means the world to me. And all these stories and messages I'm getting from you guys about, I paid your rent this month with the victories, I made you $500, $1,000. It's just so cool that I'm able to help all you guys out. That's why you got to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into Week 2 picks with scores. All right, all my NFL fans, before we get into today's video, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button. It does really help us get into YouTube's algorithm. And if you're into sports betting, check out my memberships, only $4.99 a month. And if you take a look at your screen right here, we'll go over all my winning bets, man. We absolutely crushed it. Look at all these winners. Look at them all, guys. Winner, 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 winner. This Rams bet, I won, and then Bovada was like, you used bonus funds for this bet, so we're not going to pay you out because those bonus funds expired. Super shady, but it is what it is. But we continue to dominate the sports books over and over again. We did have a couple losers. You can't win them all, right? We had some Chiefs teasers at +4 that lost for us, and some Seattle Seahawks bets that ultimately lost for us. Man, that was a killer. I thought they were going to win that game. They should have won it, but it is what it is, guys. All right, let's get into today's video. Week 2 picks with scores. All right, all my NFL fans, we're going to kick Week 2 picks off with the Washington Commanders on the road taking on the Green Bay Packers. Both these teams had really good wins. The Washington Commanders beat a pretty terrible New York Giants team, but Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt, 10 carries, 82 yards, very efficient. Jaden Daniels played really well. Debo went 7 catches for 77 yards. Really good stuff, right? But I really like what I saw out of the Green Bay Packers, both offensively and defensively in this spot. Defensively, they had 9 QB hits versus the Detroit Lions. Really, really efficient on that side of the ball. And Micah Parsons is only going to get better and better week after week as he gets more acclimated with this defensive scheme. On the offensive side of the ball, the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love really spread the ball out well to tons of different receivers. It was just an overall very efficient day for Jordan Love. And if he continues to play like this, the Packers might be the favorite to come out of the NFC. They look that good. This defense was really good. There are some injury updates for the Packers I want to talk to you guys about. Zach Tom, Aaron Banks, Bo Melton, and Brenton Cox. They're injuries we've got to keep an eye on as we move and progress through the week, guys, because if Aaron Banks and Zach Tom are both out, you know, the Commanders could steal one on the road. But right now, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers to win this game 27-23 and cover the spread. Guys, remember, all of my picks are straight up money line picks. A lot of people are like, you got to bet for or against the spread. No. The spread is there for Vegas to take your money. I'm not a spread bettor. I will never be a spread bettor. And that's why I continue to be profitable year after year with my sports betting, guys. So you can do whatever you want to do, but I'm just letting you know I'm going to talk about the spreads today and give you my thoughts, but I'm not a spread bettor. Now, on to the next game. Jacksonville Jaguars on the road taking on Cincinnati. Jacksonville had a big Week 1 win. The offense looked pretty efficient. NTN went off 16 carries for 143 yards. But right tackle Anton Harrison left the game with a back injury. We got to keep our eyes on that. Cincinnati did not play good at all whatsoever, man. Joe Burrow, 14 of 23, only 113 yards against the Browns. The Browns' defense is pretty good, but geez Louise, sacked 3 times. Shamar Stewart graded out really well, as did Trey Hendrickson, but this defense, still not great. Freaking Joe Flacco threw for almost 300 yards, man. And they allowed Cleveland to go 9 for 16 on third down. That is unacceptable, man. They might have lost this game if it wasn't for Joe Flacco throwing those 2 picks, right? They lost the time of possession battle, 24 minutes to 35 minutes. Burrow just looked bad. The O-line is not very good. No running game at all whatsoever. Chase only had 2 catches for 26 yards. I mean, this was not a great showing. And I think Zach Taylor is definitely on the hot seat there in Cincinnati. That's why I'm rolling with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm taking the points, and I think Jacksonville just wins this game outright. The score I'm going with is 27-20. Jags get a big road victory. I can't trust this offensive line, and I can't trust the defense, and that's a bad combination in my opinion. And Cincinnati, year after year after year, just sucks so much in the beginning of the year. And Jacksonville, offensively, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr. all played really well for a unit. Travis Etienne, again. 16 of 143. They're running the ball effectively. That's going to open up things for this offense, right? I like Jacksonville to win. All right, next up, we got a division matchup. New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb looked really good together. And minus a few CeeDee Lamb drops, the Dallas Cowboys, even though I'm an Eagles fan, obviously, they should have won that game, right? There was no Jalen Carter in that spot. But the offensive line, this young offensive line, played pretty good, man. No sacks allowed, right? 7 out of 11 on third down is very encouraging for this Dallas offense. And then they played really good as a unit early. Only 4 penalties. Really, really good stuff coming out of Dallas. And CeeDee Lamb had those big drops. He also had some really good catches. A couple of those drops were really, really tough catches. But overall, I thought the Cowboys played really, really well. And the secondary really shut down A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Clap it up for the Dallas defense. I know it hurts my soul to do this, but here on the Jay All Day Show, I just keep it real, guys. Even though I'm an Eagles fan, I'm going to call it like it is no matter what. And I'm going to give you the obvious stuff that happens in this game that I'm picking up as I'm watching it. Guys, again, excuse all the drilling and the sawing. They're putting up an apartment complex right next door. It's just something we have to deal with for the foreseeable future, right? On the flip side, Russell Wilson looked awful. The Giants couldn't run the ball. Neighbors' back still wasn't 100%, right? No one graded out well offensively for this New York Giants team, even though Cam Scatterbo is an absolute beast. He's running over defenders. He's running over his own team. Cam Scatterbo is a dog, and I expect him to get more and more carries as the season goes on. But I think Brian Daboll is going to get fired. I think he's losing the locker room week after week. Him and Neighbors were going at it on the sideline, right? I'm going with Dallas to win 26-24, but I'll take the New York Giants and the points. 5.5 seems a lot for a division game, right? And I do think this New York Giants front seven is going to take over games. And we'll see if this Dallas offensive line can really play well against this formidable unit. They played good against a Jalen Carter-less Eagles D-line, but man, all the studs are going to be there for the Giants, so we'll have to see if they could keep it up in week 2. So guys, I'm going with Dallas to win this game, but I think the Giants will ultimately cover the spread. Next up on the slate, we move on to the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. Both of these teams had very disappointing losses in week 1. The line's sitting at 5.5 right now. Caleb Williams, he started off the game, 10 for 10, then went 11 for 25 to finish the game. When the plays were scripted out in the beginning of the game, he played really well and on time. But as we progressed through the game, Caleb Williams just looked like shit. Ben Johnson, you could just see in his face how much he wanted to just strangle Caleb Williams because he doesn't set his feet. He throws from these weird arm angles. His feet aren't set when he throws the ball, and Caleb Williams is just going to do Caleb Williams. He doesn't listen to coaching, and that's why he'll never be an elite quarterback in this league. Mark my words, guys. Caleb Williams, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan. They rush for under 3 yards per carry outside of Caleb Williams' rushes. Tons of penalties for the Bears, very undisciplined. 12 penalties for 127 yards. OMG, guys. Detroit offense looked a little lost without Ben Johnson. I'm not going to lie, especially the running game. But I think that might be more because of the losses of Zeitler and Ragnow, those interior defensive linemen. Hard to replace all that talent. Goff did go 31 of 39. That's almost 80%, guys. But they couldn't run the ball at all, and it really affected this offense. The Lions also were only 5 for 15 on third down, guys. Man, tough sledding here, guys. So, who do I ultimately think wins this game between the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions? I don't trust Caleb Williams. Even though they should have won that freaking game last night and made me 14-2, Caleb Williams blew it. Awful. That second half, inefficient, tons of 3-and-outs. you just can't trust Caleb Williams at all. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions to get right and cover the spread. I'm going with the Lions 30-20 here. Caleb Williams, after that terrible loss, they got to go on the road. And in Detroit, it's going to be rocking in the dome, super loud, hard to communicate for the offensive line. I'm thinking he gets sacked 3 or 4 times in this spot. I like the Lions to get right here at home. They win this game 30-20 and cover the spread. Next up, we got an interesting game with the LA Rams and the Tennessee Titans, right? Titans lost to the Broncos, but the defense played pretty damn good and had Bo Nix playing like crap all game long. So that was encouraging for the Titans and this defense. But Cam Ward really struggled in week 1, 12 of 28, only 112 yards, 54.5 passer QB rating. Not good at all whatsoever. 2 of 14 on third down. 2 of 14, bro? Come on. Another 13 penalties for 131 yards. Yo, the head coach of the Titans is already on the hot seat, in my opinion. I don't think he's a good coach. 13 penalties, 131 yards. They had more penalties than completions and more penalty yards than they had passing yards, guys. What a crazy stat that is. I think that's the first time I've ever seen a team have more penalties than completions and more penalty yards given up than passing yards in an NFL game. This Titan team sucks. The Rams win this game. They cover the spread. I think they blow them out 34-10. Puka balled out, 10 catches, 130 yards. The defense is legit. 3 sacks. Really, really good performance. I'm very impressed with Jared Verse and this group. They only gave up 188 passing yards, 7 QB hits. The run game was okay, and Matt Stafford finished 21 of 29 with that back injury. But I think Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams and Kyren Williams are going to be a lot to deal with in this spot. That's why I like the Rams to win and cover. I'm going 34-10 to win in dominant fashion. Next up, New England Patriots and Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins. Woo, baby. People are like, the Dolphins are going to win. I'm like, you guys are effing crazy. And JL Day was right on the money. The Dolphins and head coach Mike McDaniel, they lost the locker room. He lost the locker room. It's over for the Dolphins. They will not recover from this. Mark my words. I like New England to win as underdogs. How could the Miami Dolphins ever be favorites in a football game when they performed like that? There was a report today that ESPN released Tyreek Hill accused of domestic violence. It's just a shit show in Miami. What an abomination of a performance that was there, guys. Oh, boy. I'm going New England to win this game easily, I think, right? Tua was awful in Indianapolis. 14 of 23, 2 interceptions, sacked three times. A-Chain's low usage but played well, 7 carries for 55 yards. Hill and Waddle, MIA. Miami only had the ball for 21 minutes in this game. You're not going to win football games that way. Straight up. Starting guard James Daniels came into week 1 with an ankle injury but suffered a pectoral injury that will hold him out for at least a few weeks. Right tackle Austin Jackson, toe injury, doesn't look good either. So injuries on the offensive line. I think Drake May in this offense will be a little bit better in this second week. I'm taking New England to win this game. Give me the points. I'm going New England 23-16. Right? Drake May will be better this week, especially against a really bad secondary in Miami. I like New England all day here, guys. Next up, let's keep rocking and rolling with this slate, guys. We got a fun one. San Francisco at New Orleans, right? San Francisco is dealing with a ton of injuries. George Kittle is out for the foreseeable future. That's a huge loss for the 49ers in an offense that didn't particularly play great. They didn't play terrible, but they didn't play great either. On the flip side, New Orleans also dealing with some injuries. Tyrese Fuaga exited with a knee injury against the Cardinals. We'll have to see how that progresses as the week goes forward. Actually, New Orleans' defense played pretty well and kept Arizona's high-flying offense pretty much in check, right? Spencer Rattler has still yet to win a game in the NFL, right? The Saints also committed 13 penalties last week. I don't know if you hear the jingle and jangling around the little puppies running around like a little maniac. But still, I think San Francisco wins this game, no matter how banged up they are. Brock Purdy did throw 2 picks last week, but Robert Saleh has this young D-line playing pretty good. Very impressive in week 1 against Seattle. Juwan Jennings, however, left with a shoulder injury. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But Ricky Pearsall looked like he is the real deal. Christian McCaffrey carried the ball 22 times, so he seems to be healthy. Also caught 9 passes for 73 yards. But this New Orleans offense, man, I don't know how they muster enough points to beat San Francisco. They have a pretty good defensive coordinator, and Robert Saleh is going to have this unit playing pretty good. I do think it's going to be a little closer than people think because of the Kittle injury. I'm going 23-17 for this game for the 49ers. I have no interest in betting the spread, even though I think the 49ers should probably cover, but if they didn't, I wouldn't be surprised either. Stay away from the spread in this game. But San Francisco, remember, they're on the road. The Saints are playing, back-to-back games at home, right? So San Francisco's pretty much got to fly across the country down to New Orleans. Pretty banged up at the wide receiver room. Not a game I'm clamoring to bet on, but the 49ers should win, and I'm going to stick with my guns, 23-17. Next up, a division rival AFC game, Buffalo versus the New York Jets. AFC East, Buffalo -7 favorites. Boy, oh boy, the Jets played way better than I think anyone expected. Justin Fields played pretty good. Breece Hall went off, 19 carries for 107 yards. Garrett Wilson, 7 catches for 95 yards. Fields looked pretty efficient in that game. The Jets also sacked the quarterback 4 times in this game. This young offensive line held up really, really well against a formidable pass rush of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was very impressed with Armand Membu and Olu Fashanu. They blocked their asses off, man. They looked really, really good. And if they continue to play at this level, this Jets team could win some games this year, man. Not this week against Buffalo and the second coming Josh Allen. Oh my gosh, what a performance. What a comeback win at home. 33 of 46, 394 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did carry the ball 14 times, which in my opinion is way too much. If he's going to carry the ball 14 times per game, he's not going to finish this season healthy, mark my words, right? But Keon Coleman looked like a true number 1 outside receiver, true X. 8 catches, 112 yards, and a tutty. Woo, baby. But this is going to be a fun game. Maybe a little closer than people think. I'm going to go 30-23 in this spot. I think the Buffalo Bills are just too good. I expect them to control the clock a little more in this game with James Cook, right? But they were pretty efficient. Khalil Shakir looked pretty good. I mean, what can I say about Josh Allen? But Justin Fields, I have not been a huge proponent of Justin Fields over the last several years, but he looked pretty efficient in this offense. So the new head coach there for the New York Jets, Aaron Glenn, coming over from Detroit, did a really good job with this team. The defense played okay. Did give up some points. Aaron Rodgers had 4 touchdowns, right? I expect the same thing from Josh Allen. And I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up offensively in this spot. That's why I'm going, 30-23. Bills win, and it's a push with the spread. 7-point spread. I think it's going to be a push, right? So I'm not betting the spread in this spot. 30-23 here for the Buffalo Bills on the road. Next, Seattle at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh -3 favorites. Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns, 22 of 30. Looked like he still got some juice in the tank. DK Metcalf played pretty good, but Pittsburgh really struggled to run the ball versus the Jets. And the Steelers only having 1 sack and giving up 32 points to the Jets is just flat out unacceptable. The tackles for the Jets, guys, had 1 year of NFL experience between the both of them. They got to be better. Straight up have to be better. Yeah, them having 1 sack, not good. Not good. And Sam Darnold cost me a bunch of bets. Sam Darnold is a bum. Let's just call it like it is. Whenever the game's on the line, he does something stupid. Either throws a pick, fumbles the ball, strip sack. I mean, come on, dude. You got to know a bull rush is coming from Bosa on the outside. Step up in the pocket, get rid of the football. Man, Sam Darnold is extremely frustrating to watch. 3 for 10 on 3rd down is ass. But Jackson Smith-Njigba had a big day. 9 catches, 124 yards. No other wide receiver on Seattle had over 15 yards, though. Very one-dimensional. They didn't run the ball very well either. Walker, 10 carries for 20 yards. Charbonnet, 12 for 47. They just didn't run the ball effectively at all. But this defense is going to keep them in games. They looked as advertised in week 1. Those 2 interceptions that they forced. I mean, the defense looks pretty good, but that offense, not great. And Sam Darnold is a bum. The Steelers win this game and cover, guys, 28-16. Cover pretty easily, in my opinion. I think Aaron Rodgers and this defense going to be too much. Next up, we got the biggest spread of the week. Cleveland goes to Baltimore, 11.5-point favorites are Baltimore. They win and they cover the spread. The Ravens are going to be so pissed off for letting that game slip away. And Derrick Henry balled out all game, and then with that big-time fumble in the fourth quarter, cost them the game. Flat out, if Derrick Henry does not fumble the ball, the Ravens win that game. That's it. It's really as simple as that. Zay Flowers, what a day too. 7 for 143. Lamar ran 6 carries for 70 yards, 14 of 19 passing, 209 yards on the day. Flacco played okay, minus the 2 interceptions, right? Nearly 300 yards passing. But those 2 interceptions versus Cincinnati cost them the game. He doesn't throw those 2 picks. The Browns probably win that game. The Cleveland Browns rush defense looked really good, holding Chase Brown, 21 carries for only 40 yards. So the defense for Cleveland is going to keep them in games, just not this one. I think Baltimore is going to be extremely pissed off. But Cleveland's defense, 8 tackles for a loss, really impressive stuff, man. But the Browns can't run the ball. They don't really have any weapons offensively at all, in my opinion. I think Baltimore wins and covers. I'm going 35-13. Baltimore gets a big W. Now, we're going to move on to the afternoon slate. This game, honestly, could go either way. I don't really have a play on this game either way. Daniel Jones looked pretty damn good in week 1 versus the Dolphins. Denver and Bo Nix, on the other hand, looked horrible on offense. What a disaster, man. Daniel Jones took advantage of the Miami Dolphins' horrible defense. 22 of 29, 272 and a touchdown. Very impressive. Rookie Tyler Warren had a really good game. OMG. Daniel Jones had a career-high 197 yards in the first half passing. New defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo came within 6.5 minutes of calling Indy's first shutout since December of 2021. He looked really good, right? That'll be a huge deal for the Colts if they can get this defense playing at an elite level. And if they play just as good as they did week 1 and week 2, they could upset Denver here, guys. They really could. Bo Nix looked awful. Straight up awful. Like, they did everything to lose this game. 4 turnovers. They had muff punts, interceptions, fumbles, you name it. Denver's defense, however, looked great. They had 12 quarterback hits. Crazy. I think they had 6 sacks. Offense was so bad. R.J. Harvey looked pretty good, though. Evan Ingram dealing with a calf injury. Bo Nix has got to be better. Sean Payton probably gave him an earful for sure. Man. Oh, man. I've been going back and forth on this game in my head. And, man, something tells me that the Colts are going to pull off an upset here at home. You know what, dude? I'm doing it. I'm calling it. Bo Nix looks like trash again in week 2. And the Colts get an upset. 26-23. I'm calling it. I might flip-flop on this game. I got to check the injury report, dive a little bit deeper, but I was very unimpressed by Bo Nix. He looked horrendous in week 1. Like, really bad. And the Titans have an okay defense. They're not an elite unit by any stretch of the imagination, guys. Wow. Bo Nix looked awful. I'm doing it. Colts win at home, 26-23. Daniel Jones and Tyler Warren, that connection is real, guys. Jonathan Taylor balls out. But, man, this Denver defense is really good. And I only think the score is this high because Bo Nix puts them in bad spots. And over time, if you keep putting a defense in bad spots, they're not going to be able to bail you out over and over again. I'm going 26-23 Colts. But it could be like a 2017 Colts game too. But I think Denver on the road, being on the field a lot is going to help out this Colts team, score some points, and I think Bo Nix makes some more turnovers. 4 turnovers. It's going to turn into points for the Colts. Carolina versus Arizona. Arizona 6.5-point favorites. Bryce Young, awful again in week 1. 18 of 35, only 154 yards. They play without starting tackle Ikem Ekwonu. I'm terrible at pronouncing that name. He's recovering from that appendectomy. We'll have to see if he's back. I doubt it. Right. Kyler Murray, 21 of 29, 2 touchdowns. Trey Benson, 8 for 69, looked pretty good. James Conner ran the ball really hard. not efficient, 12 of 39. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride, pretty good. Nothing special to write home about. Arizona did have 9 penalties. They got to clean that shit up. But boy, oh boy, Will Johnson is a freaking monster at the cornerback spot. Rookie, second-round pick. Should have been a first-round pick. Might be the steal of the draft. Carolina has a horrible defense, a banged-up offensive line. I'm going with Arizona to win and cover 28-20. Philadelphia Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs, guys. It is official. Jalen Carter will be playing in this game. The league called the suspension because he didn't play in any snaps was served in week 1. So he got ejected, didn't play in that game. The league thought that was enough, so he will be able to play in this game for the Eagles. Thank the Lord, because, man, this pass rush was terrible without Jalen Carter. 0 sacks, bad cornerback play, tons of penalties. They really missed Jalen Carter in this spot. Because when you have a better pass rush, especially in Vic Fangio's, zone scheme where they don't blitz a lot, you put these cornerbacks having to cover a lot longer than they normally do and they have no pass rush, right? So, also, the Eagles got to get AJ and Devontae more involved in this game. They were MIA in week 1. The Chiefs, Hollywood Brown balled out, 10 catches, 99 yards, but Xavier Worthy dislocated his shoulder in that run-in with Travis Kelce. That's a bummer. He's out. So no Rashee Rice, no Xavier Worthy in this spot. I think this game's going to be very similar to the Super Bowl, but a little bit closer in score because the Eagles lost a lot of guys on defense. I'm going 28-23. Philadelphia Eagles get it done. AJ and Devontae have better games in this spot, and the pass rush will be a lot better with Jalen Carter in the mix. Hopefully he comes out wanting to rip people's heads off. I think he does. The spread's only a half a point. I don't think I've ever seen a half a point spread ever. This was on DraftKings this morning. So that's weird. I think the Eagles win and obviously cover the half a point. That's a very weird point spread. It is what it is. Eagles win. Now let's move on to the Sunday Night Football game. Atlanta versus Minnesota. J.J. McCarthy looked horrible the first 3 quarters, flipped the script. Played great in the fourth quarter, leading a comeback win over Caleb Williams, the bum, Caleb Williams, and the Bears. God, Caleb Williams, you are so trash. I think the Atlanta Falcons have an uphill battle on their hands in week 2. Brian Flores is an extremely aggressive defensive coordinator. He looked great, especially in the second half of that game, calling the defense up for the Minnesota Vikings, who have a pretty good roster, right? So, Michael Penix, 27 of 42 for 298 in week 1. Bijan got shut down in the run game. Pitts played well, 7 catches for 59 yards in that spot against Tampa Bay, even though they lost. Atlanta's defense still struggles, man. They only had 2 tackles for a loss. The offense was 6 for 15 on third down. Atlanta dominated time of possession, but Koo missing that field goal after Tampa Bay missed an extra point that even allowed them to be in competition to kick that field goal. But Drake London also dealing with his shoulder sprain. We'll have to check his status as we get closer to Sunday. But I think it's an uphill battle. Michael Penix against Brian Flores. Not a great matchup. I do think that Atlanta covers the spread, though. So I'm going to go with Minnesota to win, but 24-20. I just don't think J.J. McCarthy is that good, even though he flipped the switch in the second half. But it looked like the Bears ran out of gas and they were dragging ass. So did he get better or did the Bears get tired? I think it was a combination of both, but more the Bears getting tired. But because in the first 3 quarters, man, J.J. McCarthy looked very, very overmatched in this game. That's why I think Minnesota wins, but Atlanta covers the spread. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Houston. How Houston are favorites in this game blows my freaking mind. It blows my mind. Houston's offense is extremely inefficient. That offensive line, like I've been saying all offseason, was a dumpster fire. Mayfield played not great. 17 of 32 for 167, 3 tutties though. He does seem to find the end zone, man. He's really good at touchdown passes, man. They were okay. Emeka Egbuka played really, really well. Tampa Bay defense really did a good job shutting down the run, and Bijan Robinson only 12 carries for 24 yards. Extremely impressive against the run. Right? I think they shut down Nick Chubb. And this offense, relying on passing the ball, tons of penalties, lots of pressure on C.J. Stroud, not good. But, man, Emeka Egbuka, man, caught 2 touchdown passes, including a go-ahead 25-yarder with 59 seconds remaining. Egbuka is the truth, man. And they did say Chris Godwin could be back at practice this week. Maybe he plays. I doubt it, though. The Houston offense struggled. No touchdowns, no wide receiver over 32 yards. The O-line allowed 7 QB hits, 3 sacks. Defense played well on the road, holding the Rams to only 14 points. This defense is going to keep them in a lot of games, but this offense sucks. Nick Chubb did run the ball a little bit better than I thought, but this team is still very undisciplined, 11 penalties for 80 yards. You're not going to win games like that, especially against playoff-bound teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're not going to win it, but Tampa Bay wins and they cover this, and obviously they don't cover the spread because Houston is the favorite somehow. I read that wrong, guys. But Tampa Bay wins, and I'll take the points all day. I'll take the 2.5 all day for Tampa Bay, and I think they win this game outright, 23-20. How are the Texans favorites? I don't freaking know. Even if they're home, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're home or not. Tampa Bay still wins. I love C.J. Stroud. I love the weapons on offense, but this offensive line is booty cheeks. Next up, LA Chargers, Las Vegas Raiders. The Chargers had 8 QB hits. This defense is pretty good. Herbert, 318, 3 tutties, 7 for 32 on the ground. Quentin Johnson had a big day, 22 first downs. Woo! This offense, guys, suddenly has a slew of weapons. Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, and Marion Hampton, Trey Harris, and the tight ends, Conklin and Disley. That is a lot to deal with for the Raiders. The Raiders' offensive line was terrible, straight up. They only ran for 2.3 yards per carry. Yikes. They were 5 for 13 on third down. Geno looked great, though. 24, 34, 362. Brock for 103. Jacoby for 93. Brock is a little banged up with that knee injury. We'll have to see how that progresses as the week goes forward, right? But I think this defense gets torched by the Chargers. And the Chargers, guys, remember, gave up the least amount of points in the NFL last year, only 301. I think they slowed down this Raiders offense. I'm going Chargers by domination, 28-16, right? I do like what's going on with the Raiders, but this is a tough matchup if you just look at X's and O's and hat for hat, right? They have a really good defense, a stingy defense versus a mediocre offensive line, and a defensive line that's not that great either, right? And we saw last week that the Chargers offensive line played really, really well versus the Chiefs. Shut down the Chiefs on offense too. I like the Chargers to win this game and cover the 3.5 point spread. Chargers dominate 28-16. That is my week 2 picks with scores, everyone. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. If you're into sports betting, check out my memberships. There's 100 of you guys in my memberships. You guys are the best. $4.99 a month, you're going to get all my bets in a members-only video each and every Friday. Thanks again for all the support, guys. We're over 21,000 subscribers, guys. 3,000 new in the last 3 days. That's 1,000 a day. You guys are freaking awesome. I love you. Thank you again so much for all the support. It truly means the world to me that I could do this soon, hopefully, for a living. Thanks again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Jay All Day Show. Share with your friends. I'm going to win you some money. Peace.